Good evening, all. Welcome back to the Co-ed edition here. This your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess, and we're back with Eddie B. What up, homie?
Hey, what's going on?
You got some busy after hours going on.
Yeah, I mean we're open for business, so I mean,
Shout out where you are again for those who don't know.
of course. Sutton's on 1706 North Fifth Street. Come down for some good food, good service. Got some live music going tonight, so
That is Sutton's people. Sutton's Philly is their IG page, so you can check
yep.
them out. And yes, I can agree the food is good. I told Eddie I will be back to get some more food. I don't know when, but I will be back. But all right. So bottom line, we had a little bit of movement going on with our Sixers crew. As far as I don't know if you've been watching any of the G League or excuse me, Summer League.
The Summer League,
call
yeah.
it. I said G League because some of these guys are going to be on the G League, but
Most of these guys are.
most of these guys are. But I actually saw
Yeah.
a pretty decent half of the game last night, actually, because I got so sickened with the Phillies because we know that they're sucking right now. But what are your thoughts so far on what you've seen? If you've seen any progress with the Sixers crew?
Yeah, I watched
Summer
a couple of the Summer League games just to check it out. Some I'm hoping Isaiah Joe can finally translate what he does in other leagues to the American play because he looks good.
He looks confident. He's started to get a little
Yeah, his
little
shot looks
cocky.
good.
Yeah,
And
his shot never was bad though.
Yeah, there's a couple guys like Springer looks good, and that guy Javarius Queen,
Queen, yeah, the one I just saw. He was playing
Traveling
pretty
Queen or
good.
something. Yeah,
Yeah,
he looks
he was
good
doing
too.
pretty good.
So I mean,
Yeah, let
it'd
me.
be nice to see if they could. Hopefully, they make the team.
Well, I tell you one thing. They're not going to be short of depth for next season. I don't
No,
think.
finally.
I think they finally got some hungry faces. It seemed like they hired everybody but the players that we're really waiting for that are still in decision for free agency because
Yeah. Well, yeah,
I'm not even thinking about that though.
there's a few sitting around that still like that could still see happening. I mean,
I don't see Kevin Garnett. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
no.
I'm not Kevin Garnett.
No.
Wow, Kevin Durant. Whoa, sorry.
No. I
Just hang
think
on.
that's
Kevin Durant.
we'd have to give up. I mean, had to give up a lot just to get him in the door.
I think we're both in agreement that if we, even if they did want to get Kevin Durant, they would have to get rid of everything that they pretty much have, and it would just be Embiid and Embiid and James. What's his name? Why am I blanking on words? James
It'd be a Harden.
Harden. I almost called him Hart.
Maybe a few other pieces, but not else. Not much else is going to survive that.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Tobias is going to go right away. I think he might go mid-season, but I don't see him really being moved. I don't think they're really going to be able to get out of that salary issue.
If they can make it work and be within cap reasonable, say keep him if he can make it work.
I say it's cheaper to keep him too. I'm with these people that are like he's already broken in pretty much on our team. Like
if you can't make a deal for him, well, don't make a deal just to make a deal.
Right, and honestly, at this point, what are you going to get for him that's really going to? It's kind of funky what his value would be because I feel like he's one of those in between players that could be good on certain days. Although he was better this past season and in the off season, the postseason as well. I think if he was moved, it would only be because of the salary dump thing. It wouldn't.
Yeah, that's what it's going to end up being.
It's going to end up being that. I don't know if Matisse is have any worth either, but he would have to be packaged with hopefully Furkan and.
Can we please get rid of Furkan?
I don't even know. I mean, but here's the problem, and I always tell you this: when we always have our wish list of people that we think should go, we have to consider the other team that might get the person. What is their worth for them? So if they don't agree that Furkan and Matisse and Tobias have any worth, then what the hell do we have?
Yeah, for sure.
So the realism is that though the G League shows some deep threats for guys that could be if they're developed right.
I mean. We could definitely have a better bench next year. We will definitely have a better bench.
That's all they needed to do, really, that they could realistically do if they were going to keep most of the core is they got to tune up the bench because the bench was supposed to be what was helping them.
I mean, adding that Kid House and the other guy and Melton. Yeah, I mean, they definitely improved. I
The
mean, only
internet
person I
saying
would really keep
it's
off that bench
updated.
is like Yang.
Yeah,
Kick Millsap's ass to the curb. Get rid of get rid of DeAndre Jordan. We go to.
yeah,
I,
DeAndre.
I, I, I mean, I would love to. I wish we could have tried to make a move for Drummond again, but he went to Chicago, I think.
I know, and that was
Yeah,
quick too. I think as soon as everybody assumed he would just be waiting there, it was like, nope, we got him.
I mean, I would have taken him back in a heartbeat.
I would have too, but in a way, I guess it makes sense. Well, Michael Faulker Jr. is apparently the newest one that's been signed. A lot of people don't know what his point is on the team, but it sounds like he was part of the summer league roster. Um, Currently participating in NBA 2K23 Summer League in Las Vegas. Prior to signing with the Sixers, Foster Jr. played for G League Ignite, where last season he averaged 15.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 2.4 assists in 25 appearances. So that's the latest guy that has joined, because it seemed like everybody's their mama. Another guy, Julian Champagne, or maybe Champagne, I don't know. Um, he
All these
joined.
guys just to fill out that,
Yeah,
they'll
and
fill
that's
out the
what I
G League
liked
team.
about it.
Yeah, I mean,
He came from, he was playing for St. John's Red Storm for three collegiate seasons, posting averages of 16.0 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.5 steals per game.
okay.
And he earned two consecutive first team All Big East selections, and he became the seventh player in the Red Storm history to earn the honor twice. So at least these guys have some local ties, as well as just like in general, they have a little bit of
Oh
clout
yeah,
to bring into, at least for the G League, at least good enough to round out the bench, like you said.
yeah. I mean, that's what's going to end up happening because like the guy Queen, he was a Queen. He was MVP of the G League at one point.
Yeah, I'm trying to find
Yeah,
all the names
so
because the internet's really slow today. So I'm like trying to
yeah,
find all the most
he was,
recent
and
articles.
I mean, we also had Paul Reed was the MVP the
Well,
year
Paul
before
Reed
that.
almost looked like he didn't belong on the G League this year, but that's just because he still has certain things to tweak, but he's not really even really worthy of the G League to me anymore. I think he just needs to be on the bench.
Yeah, I think that would be a waste to keep him there.
All
So
right, so we got D'Anthony Melton is the guy we got who's a guard. He's the late. What happened?
no, you see my coworker
He's
jumped
singing.
in the camera, jumped in the
Oh, I
camera.
didn't even
Yeah.
notice. Sorry, I was looking down. Hi. Um, D'Anthony Melton was the guard that they got.
Yeah, that was a draft night. You traded
That was a
for
draft
it.
night. Oh no, I thought he was the one that he was a free agent that they got.
No, they got him on draft night. They traded for him.
Traded for him, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so he was traded. And then we also have Miles Powell was one of the guys from the G League that came on last summer. He's not new. I agree that Millsap is not really helpful. Charlie Brown, I think, has a tendency to get pretty good
He can make the
shots
bench.
in there.
He can make the bench this
Defense.
year.
He can make shots.
But it may be
Uh,
it may be a chance that he's the odd man out though with these new guys coming in.
we know midseason how injuries go too, so you never know.
Yeah, and that's why you keep these guys in the
That's why
G
you
League.
keep him. Yeah,
Yeah,
he had flashes last season and a little bit of this and the season before. Um,
you call them
Obviously,
up when you need them. Yeah,
yeah, Trevel and Queen is who you're talking about. Trevel and
yes.
Queen, that guard. Yeah, he was showing a little bit last night. Charles
He can
Bassey
shoot.
actually had a pretty good
Yeah, he can shoot.
defensive thing. Yeah, Charles Bassey is starting to develop.
Yeah,
So Daniel House, Paul Reed, and Furkan. Okay, so then obviously the big names that we added obviously was PJ Tucker. So that's kind of our forward that we need, kind of like the Mike Scott that we
I
presence
mean,
that we need.
somebody with some attitude. Yeah,
Some attitude, somebody to get in people's faces. They kept Shake Milton's option, so that was good.
I mean he's a great guy
Shake,
coming off the
Shake's
bench too.
decent.
Coming
Yeah,
off the
like a
bench
lot
is
of
great.
people jumped on him.
Yeah, well he actually played better last year. His injury set him back a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he was gone most of the season because of a
Yeah.
calf or ankle injury or something. But Shake to me always came in handy at the very last, that very last part of the game where guys start getting tired. That's where you put somebody. Like,
Yeah.
he's not a starter, but he's one of those kids that every now and then, if you see him get comfortable, he gets a little bit of a street ball kind of handle going on. But he has to get, like most guys, they all got to get in a rhythm.
Yeah.
So the thing with Shake is what makes him useful is when he's in rhythm, and if they're not in rhythm, he can't do anything. Like he's just out there. So, but now looking at the roster, kind of now, it's just there's going to be obviously some switch ups occasionally, but Anthony Melton, PJ Tucker, Queen, and these other characters, House. These will be the guys that we obviously want to pay attention to as the season winds up because we're not worried about Embiid. One thing I was saying before the end of that last game was that I was worried about his mental being interested still to be on this team at this point. But that's just me being negative because we all know how it ended. We all know how it could have ended.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just at this point, the only thing that matters with Embiid is that he keeps himself active in the offseason because fall will be here before you know it because we all know as soon as we blink. I mean, next week is going to officially kick off training camp for the Eagles. So, so switching to the Eagles now that we're talking about it, I'm very excited because my boo Dallas Goedert getting a lot of attention lately in write-ups because people know that this is the year that he needs to prove that he got that contract for a reason.
Yeah.
And we're waiting for Jalen Hurts to really round out. He's been the subject of rumors because of a mock article or whatever alleged rumor started from an article that came on Big Kid Media, which Derek Gunn and some of the other former radio personalities, TV personalities have formed. Whether or not it was a nougat that Derek Gunn picked up, the rumor was that they were saying that obviously Jalen was struggling in some of his practices. But here's my thing. Y'all have to understand that nothing before they play on September 11th.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It doesn't matter right now. So I think because we're so itching to prove that Jalen may or may not be the guy, it's very easy to want to. And me, as Black people, we're always going to protect our own. I wasn't really keen on Jalen early at first because I was still trying to get over the shock of Carson being such a letdown that I wasn't ready to embrace it. But I'm like, look, to me, confidence is key, first of all. And I think when you play in Philly, you have to kind of play like you've been here before. And I think with Jalen, the only time you even saw him even get remotely nervous was after his injury, because obviously he couldn't run the way he took off before. And now that they started their off-season program a little earlier this year, and they didn't do a lot of OTAs outside of the rookies. So a lot of these guys know that they have to get their physical and mental up to top before preseason this year, because a lot of stuff will prove if they're dedicated, because some of the stuff isn't being forced on them like before, as far as having like OTAs, May practices, then training camp. Like they got a nice little window of free time where they can vacation as well as train. I don't know about you, but have you seen some, and this is not even just Eagles, have you seen some of the ridiculous off-season workouts that some of these guys have shown that makes you kind of sit there and go, like, I forget what, it was a running back or somebody that was practicing in Tim's on the beach. And I said to myself, you're practicing in Tim's, dude. That could tear an Achilles because you're not protection for your foot. But I guess they're just thinking resistance, you can't really run that sturdy in sand. So I guess it strengthens you.
I mean, I get the running in sand part,
but Tim's. And then I don't know and who knows who it was. It was probably one of them knucklehead newbies or, But anyway, the point is some of the off-season practices to me are hilarious because you figure they record them for either their trainers or for their fans. But sometimes you have to wonder if some of that stuff is like actually smart, because the goal is to not be knocked out early in the season because you didn't condition yourself well before you get weighed in for training camp and stuff. And I know that some guys get fined for being over a certain weight. So
some of the guys, they have to put those things on.
But you have to admit, look, we've seen Lane Johnson lately. He looks great. Fletch looks the same. I haven't seen Fletch as of now, but I know he's pretty much looked the same. I think he needed to shave a little bit down. He may be doing it on his own time because he's like, I ain't trying to show y'all nothing. I'm only here for one more year unless y'all re-sign me. So fuck y'all. And then as far as the newbies that are still here, I shouldn't even say newbies, but, we're waiting obviously for Big Boy. And, I mispronounce our rookie all the time, but the Big Boy we got from Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
And we did this last time. We blanked on names and I felt really bad. Because I think I said his name was Jason and what's Jordan?
Jordan Davis,
Jordan. We see Jordan and N'Kobe. It's going to be exciting to see them even on the practice night, whether they do anything or not.
Yeah, I can't wait to see N'Kobe.
Yes.
He was
So
on my wish list, so I'm so glad they got him.
I think a lot of people like I was watching a Fourth and John live because they've been divvying a lot of their lives up in different sections. So they talked about the O line last night, and if there's one thing I noticed about the O line is they definitely, thanks to Jason Kelsey scouting that one kid, even though we all didn't know what to expect on Friday night, you never know. But knowing that they have some depth now with O line is even more encouraging
Yeah,
for Jalen because at least with Jalen, they probably don't have to worry about him scampering as much if he feels protection.
yeah,
So that'll test his arm. So I'm just more making sure he feels secure. What are your
yeah.
thoughts about what do you expect to see? Because it's, August 7th, shout out training camp night, the
Yeah,
only open practice. I did break down and get tickets because I told Eddie I got antsy. Plus, I figured I'm not going to die about $20, but I still don't like paying for any races, but whatever.
yeah. I expect. Well, one, I expect the defense to be hell improved this year.
Yeah.
I expect it to go from here to here.
Hmm.
Because of what the changes that they made, the characters, the people they picked up, because we needed a lot of changes on that defensive side, especially secondary, which
Yeah.
I mean, they went out and addressed a lot of those issues. So, I mean,
Finally.
I think secondary is going to be solid finally.
Finally, and I think we at least we got a couple. The thing is, though, when it seems like they chose a lot of people that came out of nowhere, and some of the unrestricted guys' names that we haven't even discussed because we don't know what they're capable of. I think that's what's more exciting now for the Eagles, even as much as it should be, because not knowing is kind of exciting because you don't know where these guys might fit in come
Yeah,
November, December when things start mounting up. Um,
yeah,
we're definitely gonna make sure we do at the end after training camp's over. We got to do our wins and losses briefly because I haven't even refreshed the schedule, even though I have it saved on my phone. I don't remember.
yeah.
I know they open up in Detroit. I mean, obviously people are going to assume that's going to be a win, but I wouldn't. You never know.
Yeah.
Regardless,
Sometimes I try to stop myself from doing those.
what's that?
The whole win loss thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It doesn't
but
mean anything, but it's a fun
yeah,
thought. I
yeah.
mean, I don't expect them to be a 9-8 team this year. That's for sure. I'll say that much right now. I
So
do
what?
not expect a 9. I do not expect a 9-8 team this year at all.
No, I think they'll
Um,
do better than that.
but I also don't expect 16-0. So how about that?
Yeah, I expect at
I mean
least 10.
17-0. Sorry.
I expect at least 10. At least 10
And that's
wins.
usually my safe bet when I'm feeling optimistic. I start at 10, but I
Yeah.
usually don't go any higher than that unless like they're literally undefeated before the bye. And they've been
Yeah.
for a long time. So they have to have a lot more years of chemistry before they become undefeated for more than 10 games.
And that's it's so hard to do with the level of competition now.
Well, especially because there are some return teams now, especially me outside of the Eagles, that I kind of want to see go back to the Super Bowl because it was exciting to see how the Bills almost made it. I'm sure that guy still got a chip on his shoulder, Josh.
Hmm.
And I'm still holding out for my Lamar because I feel like Lamar's been a subject of now that his contract dispute is up. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't like the fact that he's negotiating his own contract, which I'm like, fuck all of y'all.
Well, yeah. I mean
So
that.
that dude has pretty much dictated his whole career since they dropped him so low in the draft. So why wouldn't he be
Yeah.
able to choose his re-up negotiations? He
I
got
mean
to take over his
that's
career because nobody
yeah.
gives a shit about him right now.
Yeah. Sometimes
So
that happens. I mean, he's got to do his own thing.
I just honestly have no fear that he'll come back to his normal form. I'm just hoping that his O line is enough for him because he had a lot of guys that got injured early and running backs as well. So I
Oh
just want the
yeah.
Ravens to be kind of a threat. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be probably starting off shaky now because they're either lacking a quarterback or because of. I mean, let's just put out and say it. The Browns ain't doing shit this year. Let's just
No.
I don't care if Deshaun does only get 6 game suspension. I think he should be suspended for the season. I don't see him playing again. But
I think he should be suspended. Yeah.
I mean, there's no point. But even so, that's a lot of pressure now on Brissett to
Yeah.
start. And you got fans that are probably really stressed because they don't know who to root for.
Yeah.
And you got an organization that clearly knows that they fucked up with making this whole absolute deal right off the jump before they
Yeah.
knew the extension of these allegations. And
Yeah. Yeah. And it would look. It's going to be a really bad look if he doesn't get any punishment.
Right. It is. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care if it's just allegations. It's just the fact that you have almost damn near 30, testimonies and proven.
They don't do something, but the thing is, they could also stand on the side of, well, there was no criminal charges, so
That's where I find that funny, because I'm like, at this point, you got too many girls still wanting to talk for it to not be a criminal investigation.
and he already paid off some of them already.
Right. But there's
The
still
civil
girls who are like,
suits.
nope, I'm still talking, And civil suits to me still have a leave of sting. No, regardless of whether or not you feel like you're okay to play, your whole reputation now is totally different.
Yeah.
It's tarnished compared to when you were just this dude who started for the Texans, who had this whole "I'm homeless" boy story, and we all felt for it, And now I'm looking at him like, dude, is it worth it? Like, you're really gonna. And not that saying he was. No one's ever questioned whether he could play in the NFL. It'd be different if he also couldn't play. Then I'd be like, you know what, dude, just wrap it up. But he can play, and that's what makes it work.
It's just crazy though. If he doesn't play, now we're looking at 2 or 3 years of him not playing.
Right. And you can't tell me that's not going to take a toll on his mental after a while if it hasn't already started, because he's now more right. He didn't play, and then on top of that,
he didn't play that much the year before that either.
No, because what was the point? Like, at that point, they were kind of already knew what was going on with that team. And whether or not you want to point fingers at the organization there too, I'm sure the Texans are corrupt too, but they're obviously pretty fast.
Yeah.
But you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and then you have to flip it to Baker, because now Baker's on the Panthers. And now you got to understand that Baker has to impress the whole new team, on top of the fact that he didn't really want to have to leave in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that whole thing goes, okay, you got two organizations having to stand by their decisions, regardless of whether it makes any sense. You know what I mean? Because Baker's out there floundering like, okay, I'm the face of progressive commercials and all this stuff, and then now suddenly I don't have a home team, and I'm the one who doesn't have a 20 plus criminal charges against me or accusations. But it's just like, Baker's been the most interesting non-story all offseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how the league works sometimes.
Well, it just also shows you that even if you're not for the NFL, this is the perfect reason why a lot of people kind of sit back and go, see, this is what makes me hate the NFL now, because they show their asses every time with such situations like these,
Yeah.
But either way, we're both gonna hopefully be at the practice. Most likely we will, because I know that 4th and John's already talking about their tailgate, so this is gonna be hilarious. I haven't seen anybody in so long because I've been terrified of trying to go to tailgates, but at this point, by the time all this rolls around, we'll be outside. I'll bring my mask no matter what. But when it comes to eating and drinking, it's going to be hard to keep it on. But I'll make sure I pull it up and down. But we'll see what happens. But all right, so then we want to move on to what is probably going to be the quickest subject, which is talking about the disillusion. Well, no, I should say the downfall of not only the Phillies, but now the Flyers. So the Flyers have pretty much created new enemies in their fan base at this point. And I feel bad.
Well, the Flyers, oh my God.
Yeah, but we'll go back to the Phillies first. The Phillies have lost 4 games in a row. We all know that Toronto game series was going to be done.
Yeah.
What happened? You okay?
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna.
It's okay. You losing signal?
They're being a little.
No, it's okay. No, I was just worried about, is your signal going, because you were freezing for a minute there.
So
talking about the Phillies.
So the Phillies, I'm not that too concerned with the way they played past games, because they were missing a lot of guys that were actually playing well for them right now. With Romulo, Alec,
especially Alec.
Yeah.
Alex started picking it up, and then look what happens. Oh, another broken. Well, it wasn't broken.
Well, luckily, it was only dislocated. So.
Yeah, thank God. Yeah. But Milto, I'm starting to question, though, because homeboy has not been doing as great this season as he did right after he got picked up. So he's the one I kind of look at like, dude.
He's been picking it up, though, but still, it's like, then this whole he can't play because he's not vaccinated now. It's like, it kind of killed the momentum a little bit. So
well, of course it did. Yeah.
I think they can. They got a series coming up against Nationals. They just played the Cardinals. They finished with the Cardinals, so they got another series coming up. They played
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
it might
The
be.
Cincinnati Nets.
I have to look at their schedule again, but yeah,
So
I just know that at this point, that whole Toronto series to me screamed to L as soon as the usual suspects are not going to be going regardless. Whether or not we want to discuss COVID or not, Tyrone is pretty much on 97.5 took in the stance of not even talking about the vaccination portion. He just decided to say, you chose to not be available. And that's basically the problem. You
yeah,
choosing not to be available is the biggest issue. Because there's things you can do.
yeah,
There's things you can do. We'll cut
yeah.
it down short because I know you're getting distracted.
Oh no.
Just making sure nobody's starting to fight because I didn't want
Oh
you
no.
to.
They're just getting a little
That's okay.
loud, and they're sitting right next to each other. So,
Oh.
which is like, come on, you guys,
That's
sit right
showing
there.
you alcohol when you don't realize how your volume is.
Yeah,
Do you hear me?
yeah, right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No.
And the music goes off, and you hear this.
And then
Then you hear the part of the conversation you weren't supposed to hear.
so then I stuck it in the butt. And
Yeah,
it's
and everybody's like, "Whoa."
whoa. Anyway, all right. So bottom line was the Phillies.
I think the Phillies.
They have a shot.
I think they can turn this because they're still in the race.
I know, but they're tied to the third wild card. I'm not putting up.
Well, they own the tiebreaker against Cardinals,
Yeah.
against the Padres, and against somebody else too. So, which is good because they won the series. They have the outright series between the season against them. So, they don't have to, if it comes down to a tie, they'll come out on top.
I hope so because I mean at this point now, like I said, my ADD kicked in now because now I'm like, all right. I'm sitting back like, what we about to do with this?
Yeah.
It's about to be another one.
And hopefully we can keep that run going. We'll get Bryce back for the playoffs, and we'll see what happens.
If they do end up getting in there somehow and they backdoor it again,
And I could see them making a trade too because
they got to do something. Let's put it. There was a rumor about Reese, but I wasn't.
I wouldn't be surprised if Reese is traded.
Well, they were talking about that 2 seasons back, so I guess. But it would be a shame because he's been more focused and more.
Yeah, well, it's also just the fact that we have guys that can play first base. So
true, and he has his moments. I know where he's not always.
He's not a great fielder.
No,
so.
He's not. I get it because I've seen it several times where I'd be like, "Oh God." So yeah, you're right. I mean, but on the flip, from the Phillies being like borderline into the playoffs, even if Bryce comes back, I still worry about that issue with his UCL. Even though he can't field, but he still has technically 2 injuries now. So it could affect the way he focuses in the postseason. You know what I mean? I just worry about that just because of his age and I'm not one of these people that regret anything. I love that he's here, but I just find the timing and honestly, injury is never going to have a perfect time to happen.
Because we don't have a crystal ball that tells us.
That's my point.
When these players are going to get injured,
and it affects just him swinging and or holding the bat. And now he can't throw, so you have all the people in the field that can't throw, so they're not going to make those dramatic home run throws anymore. So some of those losses probably wouldn't have happened if Bryce didn't have those injuries. But whatever. I mean, at this point, everybody should know next man up. At this point.
Yeah, we got some gems that have popped up. We got look how great Berling's been playing.
Berling's been showing up. Obviously, what's his name? The backup catcher. He won that game without that.
And also Derek Hall.
Yeah, Derek Hall, the smiley guy. Call him Guy Smiley because he's always smiling.
And Stubbs.
Stubbs is showing up. Stott had a good game last night. He's been making contact.
Well.
Yeah. The thing is, if you're making contact, I'm happy for you. But the difference is if you have at least 1 or 2 more guys that know how to pick it up, that makes this hope for the postseason push a little hopeful.
Yeah, and you just got to pray that knock on wood, they don't get any more. Don't have any more issues.
Yeah, I know. At this point, I feel like everybody should just be on their P's and Q's with their body. So, anyway, but to end the podcast, I just want to touch a note too that the Union are doing good. So go Union.
They are.
Root for them on the side. She said, "Hey Eddie, she made you smile." And then we got to shout out our WNBA because you and me both caught the last part of the All Star game. I don't
Yeah.
know if anyone really cared about it, but it was definitely good to see a competitive All Star game,
Oh yeah,
especially
it
with
was pretty good.
females.
Yeah, when I watched it, yeah. I
Yes,
had to
you and me
stop.
both.
I had to stop for a minute and start working.
Well, yeah. And I think at this point, the bottom line is you wanted to watch it. I actually wanted to watch it, and the fact that it was on ABC was good because it could have been on, freaking CN whatever that
Yeah.
channel is, after Comcast. I mean, NBC Philly. But I feel like at
Yeah.
this point they deserve to have a national broadcast, especially for All Star Weekend, and especially because it was in Chicago, which
Yeah.
is one of those cities that's known to, have a lot of negativity at certain points, especially when it comes to sports
Oh,
attached to it since Michael Jordan retired, put it that way. But it was good for them to win a good convincing game. I'm glad that Asia Wilson's team won because I was gunning for her to win. And then I like the fact that there was actually a 4-point shot option, and
yeah, that was cool.
our
See, yeah.
MVP that we
And
both love, Kelsey
your girl
Plum.
got the MVP, didn't she?
Yes, Kelsey Plum. You love her too, so don't even put it on me. I love
Oh,
Kelsey.
I know, but you were telling me you want a jersey and everything. So I was
Yeah,
like,
I was thinking about honestly, I was because I had a jersey for Liz Cambridge, but she's on Sparks now, and I'm not buying LA stuff. Sorry, but I'll support. I know it does make sense because I'll support the Aces regardless because I just chose them as like my team to watch, and they're still thriving right now in the WNBA. And there were also just a lot of stars that I was telling you about on the floor that are just good in general, like Arike and obviously the legends Sue Bird and Cynthia Fowles, who are retiring this year. So it was Sylvia, excuse me,
yeah.
and they were spotlighting them. But we need to pay attention to WNBA and just shout out to all those who are in charge of this because hopefully Philly will return
Hopefully.
either with what did you say the Philly team's name originally
It was
was?
the Philadelphia Rage. They were
Philadelphia Rage,
yeah.
which I didn't even do all that research and I meant to, but the fact that there was a Philly WNBA team at one point, we need to get back to that because I
I mean,
think
they were in the inaugural season of the first time they tried the
see,
WNBA. Yes.
yeah. So
They
we've
were the
had
first
teams
first
that
8 teams in.
yeah.
So
So we've had success with teams that didn't last, like the Philly Soul. We were talking about our Arena League that actually won 2 championships before they ran out of business. But the point is, Philly needs that support, and I just feel like it makes sense to bring back a Philly team. I was saying Philly Felines, Philly Femmes, something like that. Just putting it out there in case somebody sees this later and was like, she had a good idea.
yeah.
Um, but shout out to Philly because at this point now, like I said, everybody's watching us. I think at this point, a lot of people are kind of aiming to see what the Eagles are going to do. And I think the Sixers caught everybody's eye because we always seem to almost be there, and everyone sees that Embiid just needs a supporting cast.
Mhm.
So I feel like there's some kind of slow
Yeah,
support
it's
now coming towards
the
Philly.
wheels are turning.
They're turning. I think people realize that it's kind of fun to root for an underdog city, and
Hey, you know what? I have no complaints because
no,
I can be one of those cities that don't win anything.
no, I agree, and that's
You
why I said
know,
we're not
like,
Detroit. We're not.
never, never
We're not.
win.
We're none of those teams that are literally like never have seen a championship ever. We can't complain, but we also know that our bark is worse than our bite. So we also have to realize when we suck, and we can't sit there and act like stuff didn't happen. Like
Yeah.
we've had many shots to have multiple championships, and we've just never delivered. So we have a chip on our shoulder simply because of that. That's all that is.
And
So
also how they all how also how the league and the media views
yeah,
Philadelphia,
and we need to get off of it. I agree with
especially
what
the
Mike
fan
McNally
base.
used to say, the fan base. But honestly, the movie Hustle kind of showed Philly in a nice light. And someone brought that up today during my
Yeah.
our work meditation group, and they were talking about how like, did anyone see Hustle? What do you think? And I said, oh, it was great. And I think a lot of people thought it was a good movie. It was a good look for Philly. Big ups to Adam Sandler and Tobias. Shout out for getting him and Matisse both on the team. Got their little shouts
Yeah.
and stars shining there in that movie. But it was a good concept. It was a fresh look at the way you can root for a person in a sports movie and it not be too cheesy.
Yeah.
So it was a good look. You saw it, right? You saw Hustle?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, I
All
didn't
right.
love it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it either.
Why didn't you love it?
I said I didn't love it.
No, I know, but I'm saying why didn't you love it?
I thought it was okay. And then
It didn't move you.
honestly, getting tired of seeing all the carbon copy Rocky stories. That's
I see. I
That's-
didn't feel. I
that's
didn't
just
get
one
the
of the
hockey.
things.
I didn't get the Rocky vibe. I just got the vibe of a guy that like the realism of the fact that, especially with our coach being in there, Doc getting in the movie, I'm thinking it's funny because technically Adam Sandler's character is the one you really want to be the main coach. And here they show our coach, the real Sixers coach. And I said to myself, I'm like, that's too funny. I'm like, Philly always has the story of the one coach that you feel like should be our coach, and he wasn't. And he ended up just being what, the assistant, I guess, is what he ends up winning the assistant job or whatever over
Yeah,
the dork son,
yeah,
jerky son. But to me, that's what I liked about it because I'm like, realistically, we've been through like 3 coaches at this point with the Sixers team, so I think it's funny that Adam
yeah,
Sandler's character is like probably the one you really want to be the coach.
yeah.
And to
I mean,
see Doc at the end, I was like,
I felt bad. I felt bad for him, like for at one point.
yeah,
Literally how the owner was like the guy in charge was like a dick to him. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
that's the reality. I think that's why so many people notice that when a lot of these guys on the Sixers teams that don't stay and become coaches and they move off to somewhere else and are successful, I'm like, that's the reality. A lot of these people think they know who you are and then they write you off and then you end up being the one to beat them in the playoffs because shout out to Monty, shout out to what's his name, Ime, the Celtics coach now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
He
know,
may,
Ime, yeah. So all those guys have left the Sixers camp and become successful. So
I know.
it would be really nice for Sam to take over. I'm just going to say that now. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
that's on my wish list. That's always.
Shout out to Sam. I'm
Yep.
just going to say it right now. Sam Cassell, we respect you. If you decide for some reason Doc stubbles his toe in the beginning of the season, feel free to take over. Hello. Word to Sam Cassell. All right, Ed. I won't keep you long. I know you got to work. Shout out to the bar there. Sutton's has great food. Like I said again, Eddie, say your social handle for
Oh,
those
my
who
social.
follow you.
Oh, for me also. My Instagram is Barcel Eddie, and my Instagram. No, I'm sorry. My Twitter is
Twitter.
EddieB215.
Yes, follow him. Follow me. I'm now Elena JBOF as in birds of a feather on Twitter, and she talks ball 78 still on IG. IG was down last time I was on it, so I think the Russians are working. So everybody take your little internet break because
And
somebody's trying to get
our
to.
page is still going, still up and going. So
Well, that's good. I mean, I just I couldn't even post, so I knew that Instagram was down because apparently when I woke up, everybody said Twitter was
really,
down. So I didn't know.
really,
Yeah. So like I said, when the men are working on the internet, it's the Russians.
okay,
Don't be
yeah, we're.
offended to the Russians.
I just signed in. I think we're good.
What's that?
They just signed in, so we're good. So
Okay, good. All right. So it was
yeah,
probably just a glitch, but either way.
yeah,
Usually I feel like that's almost like a God's shouting out to me, Eddie. Get the fuck off
yeah.
the phone.
But yeah, it's
Yeah.
Special guest appearance.
Hey, what up, Josh? Hey,
Yo,
bro.
is Tom here?
Wait, tell him to come back. Tell him to come back.
not yet. I think he's upstairs. Hey,
Tell him to
AJ
come
said,
back.
come here.
Come
AJ
back,
wants you to come
Josh.
back for a second.
What's up?
All right, you're on here live, so just tell everybody
hear.
about the gym. You want
He
to
said,
plug?
tell everybody about the gym.
Oh yeah, I'm here with the owner right here, Frank
Okay.
Kuba. We're running Front Street Gym up in Port Richmond, Kensington neighborhood.
All right.
We're running a summer program for kids. It's called the Bully Brawlers. Trying
Nice.
to keep kids off the streets, build
That's
some
right.
self-confidence. I'm not talking into the microphone, but I think you guys can get the gist.
We can hear you.
2076 East Clearfield Ave. All are welcome daily 4 to 7.
Cool. All right, I will make
Thank
sure
you.
I cut that for you later. Bye. All right, hopefully I will see him next time because that would be perfect place to get everybody together, really. But I don't know everybody's schedule. We got to do it on a week. You work Saturdays? Let me end this pod. All right,
Yeah.
wait. Thanks for listening.
So, thanks for
Me and
listening,
Eddie
guys.
got to catch up. Love y'all. Birds of a Feather co-ed edition. We're out. We will talk next time around the time of the practice.
Yep.
Bye.